What's up, guys? Welcome to the Coach Fits podcast, where we simplify exercise and nutrition so that the average person can look and feel incredible. I'm your host, Brian Fitzsimmons. Let's get it started. All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Coach Fits podcast. Today, I got with me Andrew Beckham. He is a strength coach, more specifically towards powerlifting, but he does a little bit of everything as well, working with general population. So we're going to be talking all things strength today and maybe a couple other things while we're at it. Andrew his fiance happens to be really good friends with my girlfriend, so that's how we connected. But how about you tell them a little bit about yourself?
What's going on, man? Yeah, you and I meeting each other was a pretty fortunate circumstances for sure.
I was like, wait a second, we're out to dinner and this guy does exactly what I do? What?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I haven't been up like that with someone in a while. So yeah, training wise, I've been a trainer through NASM for a little over a year, maybe a year, closer to a year and a half. My beginnings was in online coaching. That happened right in June, right after the pandemic started. And then I got my first in-person job around 2021, and then been doing that ever since. And that's been pretty fun doing both of those at the same time. But powerlifting, I started doing that in 2016. Just got really interested really quickly. Got pretty strong pretty quick, and then had 2 back-to-back injuries, which took me out for the year. I couldn't walk straight. So a lot of time to read a lot of books and figure out how to train a little bit more properly. A little bit, that was beneficial, a blessing.
Weird how we all learn. We jack ourselves up and then we learn from it.
It takes a couple to figure out how to squat and deadlift properly. So yeah, since 2016. But before that, of course, I swam, soccer, was in the military. So I've always been pretty active.
Okay, so we got your intro. We know what you do. We know a little bit of your history. Now, when we're talking about clients, like I know when we hear powerlifting, it's like we have this image of this big, fat, juice head guy that like deadlifts 800 pounds. What are the type of clients that you usually work with?
So right now, through my online stuff is where I do a lot of my training right now. And I have 5 powerlifters and 3 of them are women and then 2 are men. I'm the heaviest one out of all of us, and I'm only 190 pounds right now. So
and that's a lean 190. This guy doesn't have any fat on him.
I'm 6'1", so I mean I'm pretty tall. I'm pretty lengthy, so I carry my weight relatively well. But yeah, I'm the biggest one out of all of us, and I am definitely not a big guy by any means. Yeah. My 2 guys that I've worked with, the heaviest I have is 148. He competes at, and the other guy competes at 132. So yeah, I don't have any guys that are above 200. And then the general people I like to work with, honestly, I like working with women. I think they, generally speaking, I haven't been a trainer for too long, but generally speaking, they listen a lot better. They're a little bit less arrogant. And I think a lot of work can get done when someone just listens to you and actually takes what you say and does it.
Yep.
Weirdly enough,
I mean, it's funny you say that because every time I'm like talking with somebody, they're like, oh, you probably prefer working with guys. And it's like, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
Like
they're a pain in the ass.
Yeah. They think they know everything already. Like, dude, I lifted in high school. I know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm using my legs. What do you mean? All right. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. It's like that old saying, like when you're trying to teach somebody like how to shoot a gun, you'd rather like teach somebody who's never fired a shot rather than somebody that's shot a million times the wrong way.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
I think that was a playoff of like Bruce Lee or something with throwing a kick the wrong way over and over again. But same concept, like fresh slate wins out.
Yeah, one of the people I train she pretty much got into lifting weights as soon as she met me. And her and I have been together for close to a year now, and she's 30, 40 pounds away from a national total. So she'll probably go with me and a couple other people next year to nationals. And
Nice.
dude, she's getting so strong, so fast. It's really, really impressive. So yeah, anyone who's never strength trained before, powerlifting is definitely a good way to go.
I mean, I had the powerlifting bug a while back, but I mean, I personally just wasn't cut out for it. Always dieting. I never wanted to get chunky, so that's why the injuries happened. But when you do it right, powerlifting can be one of like the best things ever.
Yeah, it's fun.
And on that note, since we're talking about like I brought up the diet, and you mentioned that she's like very close to a national total, which for anybody that doesn't know, that is some seriously impressive weight. Like national level, that is very, very impressive. But this person you work with, did they have any apprehensions about like getting bulky or like putting on too much muscle at the time?
A lot of my general fitness clients that I've worked with that are women will have that apprehension. The one girl that I've worked with who I've worked with the longest, she's close to 165, 170. And I joke with her about going up to 181 to compete because that's the next weight class. And she's a little apprehensive about that. And then the other girl competes at 148 and she's apprehensive to go into 165. So I do know, well, even my guys, they don't want to go up in weight class either. So I think it's more of a competitive thing for them maybe. But I do notice the girls have a little bit more of a look avoidance, you know? It's like, well, I don't want to get chunky. But you had the same thing too, right? I think most people don't want to get chunky for powerlifting, even though I really don't think you have to, you know? You can just compete at a lower weight class.
I mean, there's plenty of examples of people doing it right. Like, I mean, strength and muscle don't always correlate the way people think it does. Like there's that old saying like weight moves weight, but it's like it's got to be good weight. Like you don't just get fat and then you get strong out of nowhere. And people think that works, or people think that's what's required to get super strong.
Right.
Like I know the mentorship I was in a while back was Jordan Syatt. Guy was 140 pounds and he deadlifted 5 times his body weight. Like
that's wild.
Yeah, and he didn't gain a pound, and he was lifting with Louis Simmons and all these like 300-pound gigantic people, and he was 140 something the entire time, never gained a pound. So strength is definitely not 100% correlated with muscle at all. And I mean, we're seeing it more and more. Like when you go to a powerlifting meet, would you say that like a lot of people there are like super chunky? Because I mean, like I know I used to compete USAPL. And I was like, wow, everybody's like pretty in shape here. Like there's no real like what most people would think.
Yeah. I think when powerlifting first started, I think it was definitely like, you know, the back of the gym, just real big biker looking dudes just lifting as heavy weight as they possibly could. And as the sport evolved, there was a huge, once Instagram became a thing, powerlifting just blew up. And then there was another, you know, around a year ago, maybe there was another big kind of tick, or not a year ago, sorry, a couple of years ago before COVID, there was a pretty big tick in the number of competitors. And if you go to any meet, you'll notice a lot of the people are like you said, in shape, just lifting heavy, not even heavy, like heavy is a relative term, lifting weight heavy to them, just to see how heavy they can lift. You know, there isn't really okay, I have to be 300 pounds in order to compete in powerlifting and lift in this. It's just people are like, oh, I don't know. That seems like a pretty simple thing to do, and I want to try it out. Yeah, the rules aren't that hard. You don't have to know too much in order to compete.
Yeah, and I know the every time it was ever brought up, like where I had a client that wanted to try out powerlifting or something, the first thing is always like, well, I don't know if I lift enough to compete, and it's like,
yeah.
Looking back, like I was that person too. And it was like, it's really about a competition with yourself. Like, yeah, you're in front of people, like making sure that your lifts are good and you're stacked up against everybody. But it's like, it's really just to showcase putting in hard work and challenging yourself for a long period of time.
Yeah, for sure. Just setting goals for yourself and hitting them or not, you know, Hopefully hitting them. That's always the goal.
Yeah, hopefully hitting them. I mean, if you're doing everything correctly, or if you have a coach that knows their stuff. But that brings me to the next point, which is like the mentality of it all. Like everybody sees fitness for like how you look, how much weight you lift, but it's really like the most overlooked thing when it comes to mental health. Because I've seen so many people that are stress balls, or like they just like have a really rough go like every single day, but they hit the gym and all's right in the world. So like, do you have any experience like with clients or with yourself, like where you feel like it made a huge difference?
Mental health wise, I think, yeah, I would say most of my clients really, and you probably have the same experience that I do. I mean, yeah, I think everyone has those real small amount of clients that come in and just absolutely hate working out, or, you know, buy a program online and then don't do it. But for the general part, I mean, I think most people have told me, you know, I really enjoy the results physically, but I just feel a lot better about myself, period. I just feel like I'm having a good time. I've enjoyed working out. It's something I look forward to every day. So yeah, I think, most people, if you stick to a pretty, and you know how it is. I mean, if you go out and look up those crazy workouts online that just throw you through, 10 sets of 100, it's like, yeah, you're probably gonna have a bad time. But if you go in and do what you're capable of, and stick to a program, I mean, I definitely think your mental health will go. There's no way it can't.
Yeah. So just so I'm hearing you correctly, the Bulgarian style just isn't good for mental health, is what you're saying?
I think no, not at all. No, I actually have a buddy who's doing a squat every day challenge right now. I think a lot of people are. What is it called?
Squattober?
Yeah, and I don't know, man. It's just not for me.
I mean, I love the company Sorinex. Like, I love their equipment, but I've seen so many people get jacked up off of Squattober. Like, sorry, squatting every day is not a good idea.
I mean, think about if you took a person who's never ran before, or never ran properly before, and then it's like, oh yeah, I run every day for a month. I mean, yeah, you're gonna probably get injured.
Yeah, or you get all the powerlifters that like love to squat and they've been lifting heavy as hell, and it doesn't really matter where they are in their cycle or like their programming, and they're like, screw it, it's Squattober.
Sorry, coach, I went off program.
Oops.
My bad.
I don't know what's worse, going for a random PR or doing Squattober. Sorry, coach, I went off program.
Squattober is definitely way worse.
Yeah.
That's just saying fuck it for 30 days in a row. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean they've gotten better. I'll give them that. They have gotten better, because I remember first seeing it and then seeing what it is now with like the recovery days and stuff. Much better programming, but the best programmer in the world cannot fit 30 days of squats.
No, I don't think so. Not effectively. I don't think there'd be any real benefit from it. Because I mean, you could squat every day for a month and not get hurt. I mean, but not really.
Yeah, and they're putting up percentages, assuming that people are actually going to do the correct percentages and like adjust how they should. No shot.
Yeah, no. I don't know. I remember I did a squat every day. I think it was for about a month when I was in the Air Force, and it was like one of those things where I thought I was getting stronger for like the first week or two, and then the fatigue set, and it was like, why is my body hurt all the time?
Yeah, all stimulus, no adaptation. Gotta love it. Actually, I almost forgot about this one. We passed by the weight thing, but I want to bring it right back, because you are in a unique position where like you're kind of built like my brother, who very much struggles with putting on weight. Because I've seen your Instagram stories and everything, like the never-ending quest to try and put weight on. And I know, like, from personal experience, putting weight on, I'll go out on a limb and say putting weight on is harder than losing weight, personally, because force feeding yourself is not fun. What are a couple of ways, like, let's say somebody's listening right now and their kid is like this skinny teenager that just cannot put on weight to save their lives, and like they play a combat sport or something and they want to beef up, like what would be your tips to gain weight?
So if I'm talking to, let's say, the 16, 14-year-old kid who's 110 pounds at, 5'10", like just a super skinny kid. Most people that I think of when I think of that, like, can't eat. It's like, well, you have to eat more, buddy. It's like, I can hear that all day long, but it's still really, really hard to eat. You have to almost train yourself to take in more food. Your stomach can expand, and the more it stretches, the more it can stretch. So for some kid who's real light, go online and don't go to a BMI scale. BMI sucks, but find a website that'll give you your base metabolic rate. So just your rate, just your body's calories burned through you just living there. If you sat on the couch all day long, how many calories your body burns, that will probably be pretty inaccurate, but it's not going to be a super low number. It's not going to be a super high number, because you're not giving it a bias of I want to lose weight or I want to gain weight. So mine, for example, when I put mine in, was 2,000 calories. So let's say it gives you 2,000 calories. Start there. Just eat there and start tracking your calories. Hit 2,000 calories. If it's really, really hard, knock it down 250 calories. If it's super easy, keep eating that for about 2 weeks, and then bump it up 250 calories. Do that for 2 weeks, bump it up for 250 calories. And then, 2 months in, you're eating 3,000 calories and you've gained 15 pounds. And yeah, you're not as skinny anymore. That's the best way I've ever found that worked for me, which is slow and steady. I mean, because everyone wants that magic pill right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone, including me and you. I would love to just go to GNC, buy a pill, and then wake up at 300 pounds, just juiced out of my neck. But that doesn't work like that.
I tried. I spent a lot of money on those pills, and they just never worked.
I worked at GNC for 3 years, man. I wasted way more time than I'll ever admit at a GNC. But yeah, start slow, get a really, really light calorie amount, and then work your way up 250 calories every 2 weeks. And you'll be eating a lot more. And plus, people always tell me they eat a whole lot. Oh, dude, I eat all day. And then I ask them to track their calories once, and they're eating like 1,500 calories.
Yeah, they're having like a handful of nuts here, and they're like, I never stopped eating. And it's like, yeah. But I didn't know you were a supplement store alumni too. I used to work at Vitamin Shop.
I actually go to Vitamin Shop because they give us a discount. Well, actually, I stopped going to Vitamin Shop because now I just get my mass gainer on Amazon. Yeah. But Vitamin Shop is nice because they don't heckle me the whole time I'm there. GNC loves the fucking heckle, man.
Well, GNC operates on commission. Vitamin Shop doesn't give a shit. They're just like, we'll educate the hell out of the people there. If they want to bother you, that's on them.
Right on.
Yeah, but I bother people. I was that kid that knew everything. So I'm like, you sure you want that supplement? I know a better one. But
I love people. I hated it. I hated GNC. I still do.
Yeah. GNC is a little rough. They do have a couple of good products that like I'll go in and grab every once in a while, but like it's almost like that meme of the guy from Parks and Rec where he walks into Home Depot and he's like, "Don't bother me. I know more than you do."
Yeah.
Oh man, gotta love GNC though. But I do like that method, starting with the basal metabolic rate, because a lot of people, like, they type in what they think like will give them the perfect number. And because for some reason people love the online quizzes and like the number generators and stuff. And when it comes to like the total daily energy expenditure ones and like where they crank out your BMR and everything, it's really geared towards the average person. And the people that are dealing with the inability to gain weight are the minority. So it's like starting at that low point and then working it up is an awesome idea. So I'm 100% going to copy you on that for any hard gaining.
I appreciate it.
100%. Now, when it comes to gaining weight, I know I always have my drink handy because this is the happy hour Q&A. I'm sorry to all the Sober October Challenge members. I'm breaking the rule. But when it comes to gaining weight, I know you mentioned when we were at dinner, and like I know you've been keeping up with it, that you've been going sober for X amount of days. Has that helped as far as like gaining weight, gaining strength, and all that? Have you noticed like a significant difference?
No, it actually absolutely wrecked everything I have ever worked for. Not really, but I went from being like 225 to 180, probably lower than 180 at one point. So I lost like 50 pounds super fast. And I wouldn't say it's 100% from quitting alcohol, but a good 20 pounds of that, 25 pounds of that, I think was just from quitting out alcohol. And so when it comes to gaining weight, no, I mean, it's a lot harder to feed myself. I've always had a pretty poor appetite. So empty calories through booze was just, it was so easy. It's like, oh, I can have fun with my friends and bulk at the same time. This is simple. Yeah. But after because I was a pretty heavy drinker when I stopped drinking, after about 6 months, my appetite started coming back really, really well. And I was able to really kind of stick to a plan when it came to my calories. So as soon as I started really, really hitting the weights again, my strength is coming back really, really nice now. I've been sticking to a program for about 3 months, and yeah, strength wise, it's way better than it was. Weight wise, it's pretty tough to maintain weight and not drink at the same time, which sounds like funny that I'm saying, for my sport, I want to drink alcohol. But I wish there was just an alternative without alcohol that I could take in. Well, I mean, there is probably, like, I could just be drinking straight milk or something, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a Louis Simmons. That's a gallon of milk a day. Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, until your kidney stones start kicking in, and then
we don't talk about that.
Yeah,
we go with
we worry about the health problems when they happen.
Exactly. If you have to pass a kidney stone on your last deadlift, who cares? You get the weight. That's all that matters.
Yeah, so if you want to gain a lot of weight, start drinking a lot of alcohol. But addiction's a hell of a drug, so be careful.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, definitely not for everybody. Not for everybody. It's like props to you for acknowledging it and like being like, all right, got to cut it out. That's the way it is. But that's huge. I mean, I know a lot of people that I work with struggle with it too, because it's like they get in the habit where it's like a glass of wine a night, then 2 glasses, and then they're splitting a bottle with their husband or their wife, and then it's like a never ending cycle. And then it negatively impacts things like sleep. And like, do you like sleep like a baby now, like on the nights, like since you stopped?
Yeah, no, I sleep a lot better. Honestly, if this was a sober hour, I could sit there and just tell you all of these benefits about how great not drinking is. It's been a little over 8 months, and I feel like everyone who, will only drink on the weekends. It's like, well, if you sit there and get pretty drunk on the weekends, you're going to gain probably 4, 5, 6 pounds in water weight. And then I know you might feel hungover for a day, but your body's going to be hungover for 3, 4 days. And so by the time you're fully recovered, ready to really make some changes, you just wreck it again on the weekend. So, yeah, it's been great.
Awesome. That's awesome. And what's the streak been? Where are you at now? Like as of today, do you know the exact days?
I could check it really, really quick.
See, we got an app for everything.
Oh yeah. Where is it? As I'm talking about an app. Oh, there it is. 253.
Damn, 253 days. That is impressive.
I encourage people to try not drinking for like 3 months, because if you don't drink for a month, it's like you're still itching, and you get that massive reward at the end of the month, and then that kind of re-insignifies why you like drinking so much. If you quit for like 3 months, it's like, whoa, my brain is working really good.
Like, where'd this come from, this extra boost?
Why can I remember everything?
I might have to try that out, because I've always been that person that's like, I could probably try it for like a month, and then like a random occasion comes up and I'm like, oh, gotta drink.
Yeah.
We're not gotta, it's like I just like to. So it's like
fun.
I mean, it is fun. There's a reason a lot of people do it, but I feel like that 3-month challenge would definitely be a fun one.
Yeah.
Or not fun, but like enlightening.
Yeah, fun might not be the best word, but you'll definitely notice positive changes no matter what. There's no way you can.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it for my questions. Let's see what everybody else was asking. Anybody on here? All right, I'm not seeing any live ones, but we still have some leftover ones from last week, and you can definitely help me out with some of those. All right, so let's see. Active recovery days, what to eat and what to do. I'm famously terrible at slowing down and resting. Hate it, but need to, from Terry Ann. Do you have any input when it comes to active recovery days?
Yeah, I mean, I like to walk my dog. So I guess it would depend on what the activities you like to do, what you do for your training. Let's say you're really heavy into strength sports, don't go and lift a bunch of rocks up and throw things over your head, but maybe go for a walk or hit some stairs, or vice versa. If you're a heavy runner, it's kind of hard to stay away from cardio intensive exercises because there's a lot of them. But if you like sports, go play a sport. Just try not to absolutely crush yourself. Don't be too competitive, I guess. And then what to eat. I just like to eat as much as I possibly can, but drink more water than you would if just try to be conscious on water. I don't know.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better myself. Active recovery is like a great kind of like refocus kind of day where it's like you said, like increase the water intake, maybe do some mobility work, like the stuff that you kind of overlook on the other days is a great time to do it on the active recovery day. I know a lot of people seem to like hiking. I don't understand it. That's like some cardio that I have no interest in doing. I don't think Amanda does either, but
I don't.
Yeah. If you like hiking, go hiking. If you live by the water, go surfing. Do something fun, like Andrew was saying. I don't know if there's anything left to add on that other than, if you're dieting, stick to the plan. If you're not, like if you're trying to put on muscle, trying to get stronger, definitely eating more would be a good time on the recovery days, because in the gym, we're just beating our bodies up and giving our bodies a reason to get more strong, to get more muscle. And you can't do that if you don't have fuel. So you got to fuel up. Let's see. Good question, Terry Ann. I got that one. Okay, here's a good one. This one's from Jillian. Why sticking to a specific training split is more beneficial than doing something different every day? A common misconception I heard all the time when I first started, like muscle confusion. So I'll let you start off with that one.
I don't want to take up another hour of your time.
This will be like a Joe Rogan style. We'll just go for like 3 hours.
Yeah, we'll just run it until my phone dies. Why is sticking to a program better than just not? I don't know. Everyone has different goals. So if you have the goal of, I don't know, I really don't like having one goal being losing weight or gaining weight, because you know very well that you could be a completely different person at the same weight, and you know what I mean. So I like to really kind of have some performance goals. Maybe you want to be able to do a pull-up, or maybe you want to run farther than you've ever ran, or maybe you want to be able to just, I don't know, play with your kids better. So having a program designed towards your goals is just going to give you a plan. Like if I go into the gym and I didn't know what I wanted to do that day, I don't think I'd be able to work out. And I think that's a lot of people's problem. So if you just get yourself even like a month-long program and stick to the program every single time you have to, you're just gonna notice better results than going in and going, I don't know, let's do this today. Because people tend to do what they like to do when they do that. And that's not good, because then you're just working on your strengths the whole entire time.
Yep. And as we know, when you zone in on one type of movement, like there's like you could take like the stereotypical like 20, 30, 40-year-old dude that goes into the gym, hits chest, shoulders, and biceps every single time. But they never look any better. They never get any better or stronger because you got to work on the stuff that supports those sort of things, like the back muscles, like your legs, like, but not to go off on a tangent on that, but to your point, like, I mean, you got to make it goal specific, figure out what you want, because then you get in the habit of going into the gym, like you said, doing your own thing. And then you look back after a couple months and you're like, why haven't I made any progress? But then you're like only looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, well, what were you working for? Like, what was the goal? Well,
Yeah.
and if the goal is to lose weight, then it would really help having a program that's dedicated towards building muscle or just maintaining it by pushing it as hard as you can to maintain that muscle. And guess what? That comes down to having a program. Okay, because what a lot of people don't realize when it comes to muscle confusion, like that whole concept, is that you're always kind of stuck in that zone where your body is learning, it's not adapting. Like it feels very, very hard because your brain is trying to figure out what kind of movements you're doing and how to integrate all the different systems to try and get your body on the same page. Now, for the first couple weeks, it's normal to gain a ton of strength because it's really just your central nervous system firing up and getting ready. It's really after that point, weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, where you start building muscle, you start building bone mineral density because your body already has it figured out and it's putting all of its energy in the right places. So, sorry, that was my tangent.
No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's like if you were to go to your work every single day and they just made you do a different job every single day, you would just be so confused and never get anything done all the time.
Yeah, you'd be pretty shitty at that job. Because that's your body. Your body's like, wait, what the hell's happening today?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we could probably talk a lot more on that, but that's in a nutshell why exercise classes do not work. Are they fun? Yes. Do they get you into the gym? Yes. Do they give you a community? Yes. But do they achieve what you're like? Are they optimal for reaching your goals? Not necessarily. Because I know I see a lot of people that are like come from a gym or a class atmosphere, and they're like, I just don't know why I'm not getting results. And it's like, that's why.
I think, and I would really like to make a push to making the classes more instructional rather than, let's go and get a sweat going. Because, sweating isn't necessarily the best thing for your goals all the time. And so, I think classes made towards, hey, this is how you can use every single piece of equipment in the gym. And this is what kind of gets grouped together. I think you're going to be a lot better off than, just sweating once a week.
And that right there is a very good litmus test for box gyms. Like when you go to like a CrossFit box and they throw you right into the session, get the hell out. But I know a lot of really, really good box gyms that will make you sign up for like 1, 2, or 3 months of just instruction, like just learning how to do the lifts. I know Kelly Starrett, like Supple Leopard, like one of the biggest names when it comes to mobility. He owns a CrossFit gym out in, I think it's like San Francisco. It's in the Bay Area, but I had a client go out there and I told her about it. I'm like, go there, check it out. And she's like, well, they had me sign up for like 2-3 months of like a beginner course, like how to like learn how to do the Olympic lifts and everything and make sure that the mobility was up to snuff before I could jump into a class. And I'm like, thank God, like finally a CrossFit place that's not run by a bunch of newbie trainers that don't know what they're doing yet.
Yeah, I saw one of the guys I work with is reading a book by him, and I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. It wasn't
Supple Leopard.
No, but yeah, man, he's great. I'm not surprised that his gym is like that.
Yeah, talk about like an OG. Like he is like, if anybody here wants to get into mobility stuff and learn a lot more about it, Kelly Starrett. He's like the GOAT as far as like that realm of fitness.
Yeah. Yeah. He's somebody I really dove into when I was hurt. Real good guy.
Yep. Yep. I always saw the place I used to work had a copy of Supple Leopard, and I looked at it every day and I'm just like, but I got something else to read right now. I never got around to it.
I have it.
What's that?
I have it. You can borrow it.
Ooh, yes, please. All right. Jillian had a couple of good ones here. Here's another one. How food should not be labeled healthy or unhealthy. There are fuel foods and then there are fun foods. None are off the table unless you have medical conditions, like the 80-20 rule when it comes to good versus bad, or like whatever you want to label them. So do you have any input as far as like what you tell clients when it comes to nutrition, like how certain foods aren't necessarily bad?
I look at a couple things. I don't know. I make it very numbers based. So if someone who's listening isn't like a numbers kind of person, if they just get thrown off and turned off by numbers, then the way I think about calories and eating might not be for you. But I look at total calories, fats, carbohydrates, protein, and that's the bare minimum. But then on top of that, I also look at the amount of fiber I'm getting in, the amount of that fat that's either, polysaturated, saturated fats. I look at the cholesterol, sodium, and those are like the big ones. After that, I kind of look at the amount of vitamins I get. But usually if the small micro parts of that are good, then my vitamins are good as well. So fuel foods and fun foods I get and I like a lot, but just make sure you're checking your sodium and your cholesterol, because a lot of times when people, especially people who tend to like keto, will be like, well, I ate like 4 sticks of pepperoni and I should be good. It's like, man, your sodium, you're just busting out of your eyeballs of sodium right now. And that was one big thing that I noticed I was always lacking was fiber. And so as soon as I started realizing that was a common trend, up my fiber, and then I started feeling a lot better. So to make that very, very overcomplicated: fats, carbohydrates, protein, cholesterol, sodium, big things I look at. And if you're keeping those in check, you should probably be pretty good.
Yep. And I know, like, when I work with clients, like, I'll keep that stuff in the back of my head, but I won't necessarily like emphasize it, because more times than not, like to Jillian's point, like when you do that 80-20 rule, like 80% of the time you're eating something, like you can kind of say it's like on the paleo train, where it's like, if you can kill it, pull it out of the ground, or like any of that stuff, you're probably good, because more times than not that works itself out. But to your point, like some people, especially on the fiber end, for some reason, it's like people have a very, very hard time getting enough fiber in, because you need that like 10 to 12 grams per 1,000 calories that you're eating. So, and everybody's like, oh, I'll just get Benefiber. And you're like, it's not the same. Like
Not quite, no.
I actually worked with a girl that got 40 to 50 grams of fiber a day, and not a single gram was from something legit, like a natural source. Like it was always like these enriched foods or like added fiber supplements. And she had a lot of problem losing weight. Now she had a couple other things going on, but like the fiber and that stuff just was not doing the job. So it's like, when you go for fiber, you want to make sure that it's like as natural as possible, ideally.
Yeah.
Because she's not the only one too. Like ever since her, I told people, and it's like, it's a big change, because not only that, you don't want to ever get like like individual sources of a certain ingredient. You want the whole thing. Like that's why whole foods are awesome. They got their protein in there. They got all the vitamins and minerals, like all that stuff works together nicely. You want all that. But to put a moral factor on food, like, oh, this is good, this is bad, it's like, that's bullshit. Like there's no such thing as a good or a bad food. It's a puzzle piece. Does it fit in your puzzle? Yes or no? That's it.
Yeah.
You figure out what the goal is, and does it support it, or yes or no? Yeah. That's all I have to say about that. Let's see what else. Why cardio after lifting versus before lifting? I'll let the powerlifter take this one. Oh,
Sorry, you broke up right there.
Can you hear me? Am I coming in? Am I coming in? Yeah. Okay. So the question was, why cardio after lifting as opposed to before? And I said, being the power lifter, I'll let you take this one.
Got you.
Because powerlifters are anti-cardio, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. No, that's one thing that I definitely do agree with about powerlifters. That's not a stigma. We do not do cardio. But as a trainer, and this is, I think this is fact. I might be wrong, but strength training beforehand is always good, because then you're breaking down, like, let's say you get home from work, you eat your food, and then you go to the gym. If you go and do your cardio first, you're going to be burning off all that food. You're going to be, one, you can cramp. Two, you're going to be burning off that food, and then you're going to go and lift weights, and you're going to be really tired. You're going to feel sluggish. There's more room for injury. So you go in, you feel good, you hit the weights, you go heavy-ish. And then afterwards, when you really digested that food and get rid of all of that energy source that you had, you go and run off whatever you have left over, which is usually just fat or carbs. But yeah.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better myself. I'll just pretty much support what you just said. What's that?
But don't do cardio. It's bad for you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think when it comes to cardio, we got to talk about like duration first and foremost, because when people think of cardio, it's always like 20 minutes at least. When it's like, yes, you don't want to go overboard on it, because it does deplete glycogen. Like, it does tire you out. Like that, we want as much fuel as we can get going into the workout. Okay, now that doesn't mean that you should be doing 20 minutes, but if you did like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just to get a little bit of that sweat going, that little bit of like getting your heart going actually can help open up ranges of motion. It can improve movement quality when it comes to certain things, like if you're stiff, depending on what you were doing that day, sitting at a desk or like sitting behind the wheel of a car all day. So there is something to be said for little bits of cardio, just a little hit of it in the beginning to improve the workout like during the workout. And then afterwards, same deal. It's like, what are we going after? I know for a lot of my clients, I usually give them like 5-10 minutes just to like get the cardiac benefits. So keeping the heart healthy. And on off days, like doing like a simple like 20 to 30 minutes at like 55 to 65% of their heart rate, just that steady state. A lot of benefits there. So there is a use for cardio, and it does help improve recovery, but you definitely don't want to overdo it, because overdoing it is almost as bad as not doing it, depending on your goal.
Yeah.
Drop my pen. It's what happens. I get like, I'm like 75% Irish, but that 25% Italian is all in here, all in the hands. Okay. Is it, geez, Jillian went off. She's got a lot of good questions here. Is it necessary to activate your muscles before working out?
What's the definition of activate?
I think she's talking about like glute activation, or like, that's probably the big one. Or like, I know some people talk about like, what's another common one? It's really like glute activation and like getting like, I know a lot of people do upper back exercises beforehand, like stimulating the core. So let's go with glute activation.
Oh, okay.
That's like
I get it.
Yeah, because the glute activation seems to be the big one with the mini bands and everything, like before squatting and deadlifting. So I'll let you take that
one. I guess it depends. I am pretty bad about warming up. Not as bad as I was, but let's say it's a lower body day. I'll hop on the stair stepper for a very slow pace for like 5 minutes, and I'll almost like take that time. Like I said, I'm going really slow. I'll stretch out my legs. I'll stretch out my calves. I'll walk sideways. Sometimes I'll get really, really crazy and walk backwards. Um,
Do you do your kicks and stuff to make sure you get all those glute gains?
Actually, I will do high knees. I'll do like butt kicks. I'll do some like donkey kicks type stuff. Yeah. So yeah, now that I really understand her question, yeah, I do think it's relatively important, but I don't think you have to have a set exercise for every single body part. You know, me stepping on that stair step took like 80% of my my warm up out. And then I go over, and let's say I'm deadlifting that day, I'll do kettlebell swings. That's to get my hamstrings kind of firing, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to, because my kettlebell swings feel bad, and I know I'm not going to be able to deadlift very well. Or if I'm squatting, you know, I'll start doing some tube walks with a band around my knees, get my hips going. So yes and no. I don't work every single muscle group out individually, but I definitely make sure the big ones I want to use get fired first. Like, you know, deadlifts, hamstrings, and hips too. But you know, I like making sure my hamstrings are there, and then squats, I like to make sure my hips are firing. Yeah. So yeah, kind of, yes.
Yeah. I mean, there is value. Let's get that on the table. Like, there is value there. Especially if you are weak in certain areas, which I think is really the thing that is most beneficial. So where a lot of these activation exercises are seen is like a physical therapy like setting first. And you do your clamshells, you do like your backwards walks and like fire hydrants and all that stuff. And there's benefit because a lot of times those muscles are just not up to par. And then when you bring them into your workout, like that warm up phase, it's almost like, I think there is something to be said for like working that muscle to a certain point, because you can only get so far with those exercises. And then it has a different effect. Like, I'm pretty confident when I say I think that the biggest benefit after a certain point is more the ritual of doing it. It's almost like an athlete going into a game where it's like, no more Garcia Parra doing like that stupid thing with his gloves over and over again. Like, just the habit of doing it so that you know it's comfortable, you know you're primed and ready to go, and then it translates into better movement and better performance, like big deadlifts, big squats. And that's really where the benefit is. But the fact that you're doing the ritual gives you the confidence, which pays tenfold. So if you want to do like those kicks and stuff, you're probably going to see people on social media like, oh, it's stupid, it's got no value, that. Like, there is a little value there once you have the prerequisite strength. If you don't have that prerequisite strength and you like are in a dysfunctional movement pattern or pain, total benefit there. You can definitely get some value out of that. But after that point, it's like, just keep doing it so that mentally you're right.
I almost think I should videotape my warm up on the stair stepper if people want to see goofy, because I definitely look dumb. So I don't know. I get paid to work out, man. I have to take it serious, man. I love it.
And at the end of the day, there is some buy-in there, because there's definitely people watching like, that guy's doing something. I don't know if I really don't get why he's doing that, but it's probably got some value. Like, I should probably do that. And then there's more activity, which is a good thing at the end of the day. So there is value.
Yeah. Just gotta make sure my old legs work at the ripe old age of 27.
Yeah. Just make sure to put it up on the Instagram. I'll be sure to throw it in the show notes.
I will.
And then this is a good one to end on. Why more isn't always better? Not being super sore after a workout is okay, and sweating doesn't burn fat. So I guess the question is really like, when is too much too much? Like, and why there's not a benefit to that old school mentality where it's like, I just got to work more.
No pain, no gain.
Exactly, bruh.
Yeah. I'll start that question with an example of the guy who just broke the all-time world record total, regardless of federation or or weight class in powerlifting. Works out 3 times a week. That's it. Yep. And he just totaled over 2,600 pounds. So, and that old school mentality of like, what's up?
And for anybody that doesn't know, like the total, it's bench, squat, deadlift, barbell back squat, barbell deadlift, and barbell bench. Because I know some of the people that listen in on mine are not too familiar with powerlifting.
You think I would know to explain that by now? Yeah, exactly. Squat, bench, deadlift, and so yeah, he trains 3 times a week. I know there's a minimum recoverable amount and there's a maximum recoverable amount. If you're doing the bare minimum, that might work for you. If you're towards that maximum range, you really just have to be focusing and taking care of your body. If you're sleeping like garbage, you're eating like garbage, and you're just absolutely blowing yourself up at the gym, like you're gonna probably get hurt relatively soon. So less is more. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do always notice, I get the question of people who want to like either sign up and take some sessions with me, or like you're asking questions about how often or how much they should do. They always want to come in like 5-6 days a week. It's like, no. Like I train 5 times a week, like so seldomly. And it's usually because I'm bored. Like for me, I found that 4 days a week works really, really well. And I've continued to see progress for a pretty long time. So yeah, you just have to find what works well for you. And if you're noticing that if your sleep starts getting really bad, if you can't sleep, that's usually a pretty good sign that you're training too hard. Because your body's kind of getting that like, oh shit mode. Your appetite goes garbage. It's not good. You start feeling sick. Yeah, you're probably training too much.
Yep. And yeah, you see it all the time. Like the people that like work out every single day and they don't see any progress, and they're like, what am I doing wrong? It's like, well, nobody wants to ever say it, but it's like, you do less, you're probably going to see better results. Because at the end of the day, results are only your results are only the result of stimulus, going into the gym, doing the hard work, and recovering from that so your body can adapt. And those adaptations are losing fat, building muscle, building bone mineral density. Like there's an old, not an old saying, but like there's a power lifter from back in the day, Matt Wenning, and he has a good saying where he's like, it's not how much you can do in the gym, it's how much you can recover from. Because at the end of the day, if the scales are tipped too far towards stimulus and recoveries down here, it's just, you're not going to get anything out of it. You got to level the scale so that they match up. And if you want to be able to do more work, you got to be doing more recovery. So if you get to that point where you're putting in all this work and you've kind of hit that upper limit of where you know that you shouldn't push it more because your body can't recover from it, but you want to, there's a couple of things you could do. One, increase sleep. Okay. Sleep is gigantic when it comes to recovery, and we all suck at getting enough. 2 is increasing your amount of protein if it's not adequate enough. Like improving overall nutrition, like making sure all your micronutrients are hit, like you were mentioning previously. Okay. And the other thing is doing off day, like trigger sessions, or like the active recovery days like we were talking about, because moving on off days is way better than like melting into a couch eating potato chips, even though I've definitely done that myself.
Oh yeah, it's great.
I mean, it's an enjoyable day. It's not very productive, but it's enjoyable. So yeah, recover. And everybody's different. Like if you, and it also comes down to stress levels. Like if you work a job or your family's driving you nuts and you want to work out 7 days a week, that ain't happening. Or if it does, your body's going to break.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, let me just double check. I think that was it for the questions. Yeah, and I think live, we're all good. No more questions there. All right, good spot to wrap it up. You want to tell, or actually, I almost forgot to do this last time, or I did forget to do this last time, but I'm not going to forget this time. I need to know your favorite movie of all time and why.
Favorite movie of all time? Probably The Breakfast Club.
Oh, okay.
Why? Because I think all the characters are just hilarious. I think it's a great movie. I've probably watched it 100 times. That or Happy Gilmore, another classic, which I've watched a dozen upon dozen times.
I could watch Adam Sandler movies all day.
Yeah, he's pretty funny. Did you actually see the one? Do you see Uncut Gems?
I have not yet. Everybody keeps telling me to watch it.
You should. I think you would like it. It made me appreciate Adam Sandler a little bit more.
Yeah, I saw he was in this one, I think it was called like Sandy Wexler or something like that, like a while back, a couple of years ago.
I hated it.
The movie sucked, but he was actually a good actor in it. Like he was like that one person that kind of stood out and you're like, damn, you got dealt a raw deal with your supporting cast, but good for being serious. Like you did all right. But
yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that movie.
Yeah. Okay. Those are two good ones. I mean, everybody has like expected ones. I kind of like have an idea of which genre they're going for, but I was not expecting the Rat Pack. I was not expecting an 80s movie. Pretty good.
Dude, I love 80s, pretty much anything, bro. 80s music, 80s movies. I think it's sick.
Well, I got to ask you then, since we're talking 80s movies, I'm pretty sure Halloween is an 80s movie. Are you going to see the new one?
We're seeing it tonight.
Oh, wow.
After I got this podcast with you, we're going to go see it. Yeah.
Man, I am so jealous. I got to go.
Oh, dude, I'm pumped.
I'm going to ask her. She just got home. Be like, hey, want to go see Halloween?
Yeah, talk Santa, man.
We'll meet up with you guys. All right. Let's before we head out, let's let the people know you got your own podcast going. I know you put out a good amount of stuff on Instagram. You want to do a quick plug, let everybody know what you got going on?
Yeah. So the podcast at the moment is disbanded. Not disbanded. It's not like anything crazy happened, but we're just, incredibly busy.
Yeah.
So that's taken a pause. But if you type Caveman Barbell into pretty much anything, Instagram, Google, I'll pop up. And have my own website. Do mostly powerlifting, but I do enjoy pretty much anyone's goals. So yeah, Caveman Barbell on pretty much anything.
Yep. And the podcast episodes that are up are awesome. Very, very valuable content. I was listening into a couple of them. Very good stuff. And the three of you guys play off each other really well. So it's entertaining.
Oh yeah, I think there's still 19 episodes out on Spotify and stuff. So yeah, the Fitness Roundtable, we do have some good stuff out there. So yeah, go listen to about 19 hours of it, and then I have another 19 hours I have to edit still.
There you go. Sounds good. I can't wait to listen in. I'll be sure to put that in the show notes so anybody listening can just go right from here to there. Thank you so much for popping in and having a good talk. I mean, I was not expecting that to go that long. It felt like it lasted like 2 minutes, but yeah, an hour later, here we are.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me, dude. It was fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'll definitely have to have you on in the near future.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'd love to.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you guys all for tuning in. Again, I'll be sure to put all that stuff in the show notes. Be sure to check it out, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a 5-star review. If you know somebody that can benefit from this information, be sure to share it with them. And if you want to catch all the upcoming episodes, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.